All right, so we have a majority of the members of the steering committee present. First, I want to thank everybody for entertaining this. It's quite an undertaking, but it's my hope that it's not going to be too awfully involved. There are a number of steps we have to get through. First and foremost, again, I want to thank everybody for doing this, and especially our NCS students for taking the time to participate in this. That's a voice that we've never really heard from in this comprehensive planning process, and yet a very important voice. So I'm thankful that they're here. Give me just a moment. I think we've got another couple of people coming in. All right. So again, first I want to address the one of the foremost questions. Why are we here? And what do we hope to accomplish in this update of the community comprehensive plan? So, well, first of all, just for those that may or may not be aware, the comprehensive plan is literally our roadmap for the future of our community. What does that look like? And the answer to that question does not come from your local governing boards. Those folks, including myself, are charged with implementing the goals and objectives that come from this vision. So one of the first things that we discover through our planning process is our current plan, is that vision still true? Does that hold true? And nobody here today can possibly answer that question. And that's why we're all here, to discover whether or not the current plan's vision holds true. If it doesn't, obviously we adjust for that. And secondly, part of this process is going to be to update the statistical data that's included within the current version of the plan, and thereby update the goals and objectives. It's basically that in a nutshell. I could go on and on and on, but it would get extremely boring, and I prefer not to bore people because, again, this is quite an undertaking. So what I'd like to do, just so I can track everybody's involvement, this is really important. I want to try to get through a quick attendance, just so we can recognize everybody that's participating. Rick Constantino, I see that Rick is here, so I'm going to mark you present. Amanda Grisa, I don't recall if I saw you. Amanda, if you're here, can you please unmute and let us know? Okay. Angie Risch-Pater, I believe I saw you. You are here, correct?
I am here.
Thank you. Renee Reynoldson, I believe I saw you as well. You're here, correct?
I'm here.
All right. Lisa Fredrickson, I don't remember seeing you. Please chime in if you're here. Lynn Muscolo, Linny Lou, are you present? Okay, Steve Richards, are you present? Jody Simmons Caruso. Sherry Brown French, I believe I saw you. I'm marking you, Sherry. I'm marking you present. I believe you are here. Those names I just called, as you may recall from emails and other communications, you are in the work group called Business Owners Pod. I'll get back to the Slack platform here just shortly. So again, all of those names I called.
Hi, Brian. This is Amanda Grisa. Sorry, I just learned to unmute myself, but I'm here.
Okay. No worries. I've got you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to move on to NCS community. All of these folks are in the NCS community pod. Fisher Finnan, are you present? Some people may be on mute, others may not. We'll sort that out as we move forward. Casey Hall.
I'm here.
Thank you. Abby Beatrice. Garrett Waltman, I believe you're here.
Yes.
Thank you. Dean Rischpater.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Delaney Vest?
Here.
Thank you. Rebecca Pogo? Erica Riegelsberger?
Hello.
Thank you. Max Ryan?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you. Carly Waltman?
Here.
Thank you. Polly Bay? I know some folks, even if they're here and on mute that I may have missed, some are also otherwise engaged, which is understandable. Wes McMullen? Kennedy Mumby?
Here.
Thank you. Josh Gleason?
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you. And you're all being stalked by Mr. Frame, by the way. All right. Again, that's all the members of the NCS Community Pod. The next group is called Community Members Pod. Kathleen Bush, are you present? Believe I saw you, Kathleen. I'll double check back. Matt Black, I got a message from Matt if you're with us right now.
Yep, I'm here.
Great, thank you. And Margaret Fowler. Blanche, I saw you.
Yes, here.
Matt Levine, I saw you.
Here.
All right, we're going to move on to the local government pod. Sean Sullivan, I saw you. Paul Lambiase, saw you. Linda Almakinder is here. Joan is here. Phil, I believe I saw you. Phil Faber.
I'm here.
Thank you. Chris Warren. Okay. Just double checking. I have several folks in my list that would otherwise be just observing. And that takes care of everything. And good. I want to, again, thank everybody for helping me get through that list. Part of the attendance taking was to describe for everybody, just to make sure everybody understands which work group they're in this process. So the next thing that I would like to do is, give me just a moment here. Okay. Rebecca, I got your message. Thank you. Okay. So what I would like to do, and I'll describe further how we plan to get through this process in each of these individual work groups, but I would like to ask that a member from each group be the spokesperson for that group. In other words, update us during our monthly meetings on progress and some of the issues that your group has discussed. So that first one would be the business owners pod. Would somebody like to step up and be the spokesperson for that group? Don't be shy. Take yourself off mute. Some, but come on, you're
I can do
business
it.
owners.
I can do it. This is Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yep.
And the NCS Community Pod, which one of our students would like to step up and be spokesperson? Garrett, I see you leading the charge. Would you like to continue on?
Yeah, that works.
Thank you. And our community members pod. And let me see here.
I'd be happy to do that unless someone else wants it.
Okay, sorry, I can't see my screen at the moment. Who was that?
That was Matt Levine.
Matt Levine. Thanks, Matt.
Mhm.
And one of our local government representatives. Would somebody like to be the spokesperson for that work group?
I'm happy to, Brian.
And that was Sean?
Yep.
Thanks, Sean. Perfect. All right. again, thanks for helping me get through that. So, as many of you may have already guessed, it's not the intent of these monthly meetings to go through all of the steps of a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis, and everything else that's involved. The intent is to filter that into the work groups and let you work at your own individual paces.
Heck yeah.
I think, quite honestly,
Nice.
Nice playing, dude.
Yeah,
That's
same
fun.
to you, Tom.
in the past, we've done visioning sessions with a room full of people, like 100 people in a room, and it's chaotic, right? Everybody's shouting out, "Oh, this is our great strength, guys. We can get doing it all." So that it's a chaotic way of doing things, and it forces people to make a decision that maybe they're not prepared to quite hone in on yet. And I think we have plenty of time.
So this is like one Monday a month. So
If we're broken into pods like this.
it's a comprehensive plan for the village and town of Naples, basically Naples. You know, what's the vision of the town
Right.
for the next 5 years?
Somebody's talking in the back, so I'm not sure. who it is.
Hey, Matt, can you mute your phone, please?
Then it was like, oh yeah, Monday nights
Matt?
at 6. Like, oh,
All right, give me just a moment. Could everybody please go on mute? Hang on a minute. Okay, I've muted everybody. If you need to chime in, please unmute yourself. Feel free to chime in at any time. Otherwise, please keep it on mute. I do want to stress it's important to chime in if you feel the need. So again, where was I? So I was explaining how chaotic it is when you try to do whiteboarding sessions, visioning sessions, and you're pressured to make a decision. You've got like an hour time frame and all of this information to get through, which is why I think this is an ideal way of going about this. And then we meet once a month as a group and we discuss the progress of those groups. Now, we do have the 4 groups laid out. No one group can see another group. I can see every group. There are a couple of people that can see every group, and that's done by design because we have to quantify this information somehow, some way in the end. But again, everybody will have the same questions posed to them, and you'll be just allowed to work at your own pace within your own group. Literally, if something pops into your head, a question is posed, you answer it at your leisure. It'll be very obvious when a group has gotten through their discussion on any given question. And I plan to literally filter them out one at a time. The SWOT analysis is going to be pretty easy. And I want to share with everybody, and there are many in this group, I'm very aware there's many people in this group that understand the undertaking of SWOT analysis. Some of us do it on a pretty regular basis, and others may not be as well versed in it. So I just like to share, basically, we've got another one coming in. I'd just like to share what that looks like. All right. So SWOT, again, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this applies to any organization when you're trying to devise a master plan or a comprehensive plan. And they're split up in several different ways. Our strengths and our weaknesses are internal in origin, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then we have opportunities and threats that are on the other side. Now, the order of this can be reversed, but the concept is the same. Strengths and opportunities are helpful to the overall objective. Weaknesses and threats can be harmful to the overall objective. So again, I'm trying to just give a broad overview. And I just backed up. Give me a moment, sorry. I got a little click happy.
Brian, do we take notes or are you going to be sending this to us?
At this point, I'm not sure that taking notes is even going to be an issue. You'll see in just a moment. All right, so everybody can see the strengths and weaknesses that I was just discussing, being internal in origin. And we build upon our strengths and we address the weaknesses. And who or what is directly, or who or what directly affects change. And that would be all of your internal controls: village board of trustees, town council, planning board, zoning board of appeals, local tourism and business organizations. And those are monitored by key performance indicators. So again, I don't want to get too heavily into this because internally we will sort that out, and that comes from all of the discussion of the work groups. Then you've got your opportunities and threats, which are external in origin, meaning who or what directly influences change. So again, the who or what part, mega trends, COVID-19, we all know what that is by now, right? Climate change, civil or civic equality movements, shifting global dynamics. All of these things have an effect. And the reason we bring this up is some of these things are either out of our control or we have little control, but we need to be cognizant of these issues as we go forward in the process. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So in other words, we just simply monitor that. Let me get out of this share. So using Slack, again, everybody's aware that the pods have been split up. I have some feedback from a few people that have been unable to see their specific work group. This is mostly caused by an email address that may happen to be old that I had, and I sent out the invitation and somebody signed up with a newer updated email address. Always feel free to reach out to me via email, or if you happen to be in the Slack platform, send me a direct message and say, hey, I can't see my work group. I have at least one that I became aware of today, and probably 4 others recently that could not see their specific work group. That is the reason, but please reach out and I'll correct that as quickly as I can. Give me a second. I want to make sure that okay. I have a few chats here, so. Okay. Apologies, I'm wearing too many hats at once. That's okay. So the intent, again, is to allow everybody to work at their own pace. After this meeting, I'll begin sending out questions, and they're going to come slowly. We're going to begin with strengths. I will send out a question to every work group that says basically this: what are our greatest strengths? What are the community's greatest strengths? Things that you can hone in on, and allow these groups to discuss those things, to discover what they are, to say what they are. Then I'll follow it up with weakness questions. I might even add to the strengths questions. If I'm concerned that we're not fleshing it all out, I'll ask another question to try to push that forward. But it will be very obvious when a group is done responding to a question. Then the next questions will come. We'll get through the SWOT analysis in that fashion. Depending on how engaged a group is, really dictates how quickly we get through a SWOT analysis. It shouldn't take long, but again, take as much time as you need. Don't feel pressured. Just simply respond as we move forward. After we get through the SWOT analysis, we're going to move into quantifying the information and updating the statistical data in the current comprehensive plan. That'll get a little more involved. We're gonna have to discuss some trending issues. A lot of this comes from available statistics, but we're gonna have to discuss a lot of these issues. Namely, COVID impacts are different for every community. We wanna make sure that we're very well understanding the implications of our own community and not just the broader aspect, regional, state, so on. And I think that's about all I wanted to cover at this kickoff meeting. But I sure would like to hear from the members of the committee and address anything, any concern or any thought that members of the committee have moving forward. Everybody's on mute, so if you need to chime in, please take yourself off.
Brian, can you remind me of the time frame for this whole project?
Yeah, Matt, I originally I suspected that it would take about 6 months to get through this project, and that was a guess. And the reason I say that is, as I mentioned really early on, I'm not entirely certain, and I don't think any of us can be. Is our vision still true? And I think the SWOT analysis is going to reveal that pretty quickly. If our vision is pretty close to accurate as it stood 5 years ago, 6 years ago, then I think the process will be pretty smooth. If we discover that we're off track, it's going to require more work and more discussion. Does that make sense? Thank you. If somebody else is off mute, go ahead.
As far as what you're looking for in the monthly summaries, will it be based on each question that gets asked, or are you looking for something that's kind of more in-depth than that?
Is this Amanda speaking?
Yep, this is Amanda.
Sure. Amanda, I think it's just going to be a generalization. But I think it's important to have somebody in each group leading the charge, because being in your own specific group, there may be additional things that you want to touch on, things that were discussed in the group. The reason I'd like to have a representative of each group is so I don't have to try to detect for myself. I can see your activity, I can see the conversations, but I don't want to put words in any person or group's mouth. I'd like to know that we're fully understanding the responses and the discussion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And then I'm also wondering, so from the SWOT analysis, there will be like a summarization, and thus there's your comprehensive plan. Will this working group have an opportunity to chime in on like action items from the SWOT afterwards?
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely. In the end, this analysis and supporting data ultimately culminate our action items, our goals and our objectives. And at the same time, this group is going to assign responsibility for achieving those goals and objectives. And responsibility is ultimately going to be basically a specific governing board or a specific committee. Does that make sense?
yeah, thank you.
All right. Anybody else have questions, concerns, comments?
This is Sherry.
Hi, Sherry.
Is this all done on this platform then?
It is.
Okay.
It's all going to be done on, this is why I've combined the two platforms. The Slack platform is going to be where everybody does their work. So if you're in the business owners pod, all business owners are discussing their work in that pod, not in general, but in that group. Community members in the community members group, NCS community in the NCS community group. All groups will be discussing the same things at the same times. The only catch here is you can't see each other. You can only see your own group, and that's by design. I expect, because of the diversity that we have here, I expect that groups will have very different responses to some of these questions or propositions. And that's a really good thing. Okay, anybody else?
Brian, this is Paul. Will the spokesperson within each group be responsible for coalescing the group, setting meeting times and getting us together?
Well, again, the work group is a work at your own pace situation. So no, as a group in its entirety, we will meet once a month, the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. to discuss the progress of our groups and the responses that are being addressed within those groups. So the spokesperson is basically the person that we would expect to deliver to the entire group at this monthly meeting the synopsis of what you discussed and what the outcome is. Anybody else? So look, I think this is going to be a real, I think COVID has blessed us in this way. It forced us to embrace technology. And quite honestly, having a group this large work together, this type of platform, the Slack platform, where you're literally instant messaging your responses back and forth as a group to one another, is ideal in this type of situation. It pulls the chaos right out of it. It takes the pressure off because you're not in a room on one specific day for a limited amount of time. So I really expect this to work out very well. We have so comments going forward in the future. I would like this committee to know I may or may not have mentioned this to everybody, but I will be sending out, soliciting a survey from any and all members of our community, Survey Monkey style. And the questions that are going to be in that survey are coming directly from this group's SWOT analysis. So the same questions we are pondering are going to go out to the community as well. They might be more refined, more defined after we get through our own questioning, our own whiteboarding sessions. But our community is going to have an opportunity, each and every one of them, to answer the same questions, the same prospects in a survey. Anything else from anybody? I don't want to keep you, don't want to bore you. All right, well, that is wonderful. I really appreciate everybody's participation tonight. And just shortly, sometime tonight, I will send each group that first question and we'll see how things play from there. All right, I guess we should adjourn at this point. Thank you all. Really appreciate all your help. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Short and sweet.
Thank you. Good night.